Ethel Merman was one of the great Broadway performers of the 20th century. She introduced audiences to some of the most timeless tunes in the Great American Songbook, like I Got Rhythm and There's No Business Like Show Business. But perhaps Merman's greatest achievement was her performance as a striptease artist, Gypsy Rose Lee, in the stage musical Gypsy. That show had its Broadway premiere on this day in 1959.
Such a strong book and one of the greatest scores ever written.
This is my favorite musical.
It's a classic. That doesn't come along very often.
The musical Gypsy by Julie Stein, Stephen Sondheim, and Arthur Lawrence first opened on Broadway starring the inimitable Ethel Merman, May 21st, 1959, running for 702 performances. Its music and its content has touched generations and has continued to entertain.
There's folks who saw Angela 15 years ago, and there's folks who saw Ethel 30 years ago. But what's vital about the living theater is there's folks that never saw it before at all. And so I get to be her now. And I'll own her for about 15 years, and then some other girl will do it. And, you know, and we'll take over.
It was Bette Midler who took over and tackled the role for the 1993 TV movie version.
It's the hardest thing I ever did in my life.
Gypsy is based on the 1957 memoir of burlesque star Gypsy Rose Lee and her domineering stage mother, who was portrayed by legendary performer Ethel Merman.
I believe it was written for Ethel Merman.
Mama's talking loud, Mama's doing fine, Mama's getting hot.
And Ethel Merman has lungs of steel and this clarion, this trumpet for a voice, and she could hit these B flats and Cs without even thinking about it. But for a regular person who just sings, it's a real stretch, and you have to be like in training of some sort to be able to sing it. It hurts. I mean, this is not material that you can just put your own stamp on. The tempos and the lyrics, you don't change any of that. You don't add your own business to this. This is sung very, very strictly.
Everything's coming up roses.
Merman's booming, powerful voice was a perfect fit to portray Gypsy Rose Lee's stage mother, something Gypsy herself agreed on when Merman appeared on the Gypsy Rose Lee show. On the show, Lee showed film of her visit to the production set of Gypsy.
It was during these rehearsals that I realized that Ethel was really more like Mother than I thought she was. She has Mother's energy, her resourcefulness.
Lee was the most famous stripper in the world in the 40s and 50s, known as much for her wit as her striptease. The book revealed the story of her childhood and her relentless mother, Rose, who drove her two daughters to become performers.
Well, the incredible thing is that it's a story about someone trying to live through other people. And it happens not just in the theater, but it happens in marriages, it happens all over the place. It's a very strong part of human behavior, and I think a lot of people identify with it.
For Gypsy, that identification was often mistaken for anger.
They say that I could never have written that book or that strip if I had truly loved my mother. And I've always thought of it as sort of a monument to my mother.
A monument that has certainly endured through the decades.